Welcome to Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your host,
Charlie Seymour.
and I'm Tim Sternberg. Hit it, Nick. Welcome back to another amazing week here on Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast. If you didn't know already, that is the name of our show. Charlie, how are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing good, but probably not as good as you.
Why would I be doing
I,
good?
have the Mets lost a single game since we last recorded? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Mets are
Beat
looking
the
pretty good,
Mets.
huh?
And the Braves lost today. Thank you, Colorado. Appreciate it.
Who would have
Doing your
thought we're
part.
sitting here, for coming up to the end of the first week of September. The Mets were right there in the hunt.
Well, I would have told you in April when we first started, I was fully confident that we were going to have the year. You remember?
Yeah,
Remember
I
that?
remember
Yeah,
I
I was
remember
fully
the season
confident.
being over, gloom and doom, and this and
Get,
that,
wait,
trade
wait,
everybody, fire
leave it to you,
everybody.
Charlie, to bring that up. Oh,
I just
man.
just saying, hey, it's always fun
Just,
when you're in the race at the end, right? As long as
it's
you're in the
true.
race, it's all you can ask for.
Listen, I'm probably one of the most optimistic people that you know. I mean, especially when it comes to baseball. So of course I was really excited in April. Listen, you know what? This team, talking about the Mets real quick, this team, I don't know what it is, but when they started injecting the oh my God and that whole Iglesias like rhythm and rhyme and June. This happened around June when I went on my trip. That this kind of start after the game in London against the Phillies. I feel like that was the point where this kind of started going. And there's something I will say magical about this team. Like you have these late additions like Jesse Winker, that is like he's already saying how awesome this clubhouse is. He's a brand new on the team and has a history of kind of, going up against fans of the Mets fans a little bit. I've always liked Jesse, but and Harrison Bader, I mean, I just think just the vibe that these guys have is awesome. Like I love the clubhouse right now.
Lindor having an MVP type season.
Let's talk.
Alonzo in a down year, 30 plus homers, 800 OPS. Like,
Which he broke a baseball bat yesterday, poor guy. But
yeah, he
I
did.
love Pete.
Poor
Pete,
baseball bat.
even a down year is still better than the 90% of the
That's
players
what's
on
crazy
most
is
teams.
he's not having a down year. What it is.
Yes. But let's talk about Francisco Lindor real quick. So I will say, Mets fans have not been easy on the guy over the last couple of years since he came over
It's
from
crazy.
Cleveland. And I have always been pro Lindor. I love the guy. Like
I
I
don't
have
know if there's a
no
better player that's ever gotten more flack. It's wild.
100, and probably I will go out on a limb and say probably the best shortstop to ever play on the Mets.
I think he's solidifying it.
Yeah, I mean, hello.
If the Mets get into the playoffs, he's gonna have a real good argument for MVP.
Yeah, on any other year, if Otani was pitching as well as hitting, I would
Then
say
no, but
no.
yeah, with Otani not playing in the field and Lindor playing fantastic at arguably the most important defensive position.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at some of the wars that include defense, Lindor's a decent bit higher.
absolutely. And let's just talk about him personally. He's a nice dude. I mean, he's a
Yeah,
really good dude, and he's like I said a few minutes ago, he's had a lot of flack from the fans, and he's pretty much taken it on the chin. And don't he doesn't care, and that's the mark of a true champion is someone to be able to do that. And I love Lindor. I think he is one of the best additions that I mean, and he was one of Cohen's first additions to the team when he bought the team. Yeah, I think even when he came over from Cleveland, like I don't follow American League too much. I knew who everyone knows who Francisco Lindor is. And yeah, he's special.
yeah, he's fun to watch.
Definitely. So speaking of fun to watch, let's talk about your team.
They had a real good stretch. They got themselves back in the hunt, and then they had a real tough loss earlier in the week that stung. They had a 3-run lead going into the eighth
Who was
and
that
lost that one.
against?
It was against Pittsburgh. They swept
Ugh,
Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh the week before, and then they blew a tough one. But then they finished the series strong by winning 12-0 and throwing a no hitter. So they ended pretty strong. So hopefully that righted the ship again, and we'll see. The next 6 games will be make or break for the Cubs. They play the Yankees and the Dodgers, so they just can't get crushed or they're toast. If they can somehow take 3 or 4 of the 6 and just hang around, we'll see what happens. A couple of the other teams got some tough schedules coming up. Arizona is, I still think, not a lock. Even they're only 2 up on the Mets in wild card 2. They're in Houston this weekend for 3. Houston's playing good ball. I can't believe we're
unfortunately.
we're both going to say this, but we're
Oh
going to be
God,
rooting
I
for the
hope they
Astros
win.
this weekend.
Oh
I
God.
mean, right now the Mets are tied with the Braves for wild card
Ugh.
3, and both of them are only 2 behind Arizona and only 2.5 behind the Padres, who I don't know if you saw that game today, but the Tigers, bases loaded, 2 outs in the ninth, down 3-0, hit a grand slam, and the Padres lost 4-3.
Love it.
So
But speaking of rooting for the Astros, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
right
That's
there
all
you
I'll
go.
say.
So go Houston for the weekend.
Just for the weekend.
Just
Don't
for
get
the
any mixed
weekend. Just for
emotions
the
or anything
weekend.
like that. So
The
speaking of the
Braves are playing the Blue Jays,
yes,
so you never
go
know.
Davis
Go
Schneider and the
Jays.
Blue Jays and Vlad. There was a great film
Vladdy.
of Vladdy showing Davis a couple of things. It was really cool to see
That
this
was
week.
awesome. Yep.
Shout
Just
out to
doing it on his
Madeline
own.
Davis. Absolutely. Speaking
Go
of, I
Jays.
want to go Jays. Absolutely. I want to speak it to that no hitter, the Cubs no hitter, a combined no. I believe it was the 18th no hitter in Cubs history. Is that right?
Oh,
Something
that
like that.
that number I did not pick up on, but it's the first at Wrigley for the Cubs since 1972.
Unbelievable. So, the last no hitter at Wrigley, I was 1 year old. That puts some perspective on it. I was
Now
born in
that's the last Cubs
1971.
no hitter
Cubs
at
no hitter,
Wrigley.
right?
There
Yeah,
was a more
you
recent
know what I'm
one
talking about,
which
though.
I was at in person, so that was pretty
Which one
cool.
was that?
Cole Hamels threw a no
Yep,
hitter as a member of the Phillies.
that's
And
correct.
then, very interestingly, about 2 weeks later, 2 to 3 weeks later, the Cubs traded for him. So he was then on the Cubs the rest of the season, which was
Yep,
interesting. But
I do know about that. Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
say, that's one of the baseball bucket list items that you don't always get to see. Seeing ones in person is pretty cool. And even though it was against the Cubs, we were rooting for it at that time. The game was over. It was out of hand. It was like 6 or 7-0. And the final out was wild. It was a fly ball to deep center. The winds were swirling. And I'm pretty sure it was Odubel Herrera who caught the final out. He was running
Odubel.
backwards, the ball, and then he made like a basket catch falling forward on his knees on the warning track to save the no hitter as the last out. It was pretty wild.
Well, I will tell you this. You and I have something in common.
You've
I
seen a no
was
hitter?
the Marlins at Marlins Park. It
AJ
was
Burnett?
no, it wasn't
Okay,
Burnett.
hold on. Now hold on. It
Oh, look
wasn't
at
Burnett. Let
this.
me see if I can figure it out. Was it the other guy that walked a bunch of guys too? Was it
His last
um
name starts with a V.
starts with a V.
It happened in 17.
2017 Marlins pitcher, last name with a V. Last name with a V, not or first name, last name,
First
you
name
said.
was a E, last name was a V.
Was it Vasquez?
Volquez, Edison
Oh,
Volquez.
Edison Volquez. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Volquez, it was against, I forget which team it was. I'm looking it up right now. But I was at that game.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
You know what I was upset about? Um, so it was Edison's Volquez overcomes injury scare odds to throw MLB's first no hitter in over a year. So this is in 2017 at Marlins Park, and he throws it against the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
He did it all in only
So that was
98
probably
pitches.
that was probably a Paul Goldschmidt in the lineup.
Probably.
2017. I bet he was. Almost positive
Yeah.
he would have been. He was
That
the
was
Iron Man.
also the year of
Are you
the
looking at
Marlin.
that box score?
No, I'm not looking at the box score.
That's okay.
Uh,
No, no, no. Keep reading what you're about to say.
I was just gonna say that was the year too that the Marlins hosted the All-Star game at Marlins Park, or at yeah, well, it was Marlins Park at the time. Now it's Lone Depot Field. But yeah, there you go.
That's isn't
I'm
that
sure you're
crazy?
looking up the box score.
Yeah, of course I'm looking up the box score. You know me.
So it's June. It was June of
I already got it.
yeah,
June 3rd, 2017.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hit batting third, none other than Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, and
Did you
this
like
is
that? That was pretty good.
that's pretty good. Well, I don't
Now
expect anything less of you.
this lineup has a couple guys that are still around or semi recently to the majors, so that's kind of fun.
Who?
David Peralta, currently on the
Okay.
Padres, who are currently in
Uh,
the playoff picture.
yeah,
Also played
Peralta.
for the Cubs for a short week. There's
He
Jake
did.
Lamb, who's bounced around a little bit, was on the White Sox recently.
Yes.
You've also got
And
Brandon Drury and then Nick
yes.
Ahmed, utility infielder. Even Daniel Descalso. Talk
Okay.
about a Cub bust, but he played in that game for Arizona. And I didn't even mention the Marlins lineup. Let's see how well you remember that. Who you were there at that game? You should get a few of them.
Yeah.
And there's a
Um,
bunch of them that are still in the majors.
in 17, we had I don't know if we traded away yet people. If we didn't trade away people, it would have been Stanton was on the
You did
team.
not trade away people yet.
Okay.
Stanton is
S-
correct. He hit
Stanton,
second
yeah.
in the lineup.
Stanton, Yelich, Real Muto.
Stanton hitting 2, Yelich hitting 3, Real Muto hit 6. So look at that.
Yep.
You hit 3 already.
Freaking love that team so
You're missing a
much.
couple that I think you might be able to get.
Um, Give me the position.
Who led? You've got the 2, 3, and the 6 hitter. Who led off? Speedy guy. Played some infield, played some outfield.
Marcelo Zuna was on the team.
That is correct. The cleanup hitter.
Um, yes.
You're missing 1 and 5, and then you have the first 6 in the lineup.
I know Justin Bohr was on the team at the
Justin
time.
Bohr is correct. That is, you now have
Wow,
everybody but
I'm
the leadoff
winning.
hitter in the top 6.
I'm
Everybody
missing
but the
the
leadoff hitter in
leadoff
the top
hitter.
6.
Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see.
You know
Trade.
this player for sure.
What team did they
He
trade him to? Can you just give me a
he's
hint?
played for a handful of teams. How about this? He went by a name, then he had kind of a name change in the middle of his career, and he had a hyphenated last name. And the middle name is a synonym for different or weird.
Give me the team.
He also played for the Diamondbacks. He played for
Oh God.
the
I'm gonna
Dodgers. He was
I'm gonna
drafted
hate
by. He
this. I'm
played
not
for
gonna cheat.
Seattle.
I'm not cheating. Oh.
He's a speedy guy.
Gonz-
It does start with a G, last name.
yeah. Gordon.
Yes.
D.
Now,
Gordon.
yep. And then now, what was his
D.
changed name?
Gordon Strange.
D. Strange Gordon.
Strange
You
Gordon.
got it. You got
Yes,
it.
it took me a minute, but wow,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
pretty
love D.
impressive.
Gordon too. That
Plus with
he was traded to the Mariners right after.
Yep.
Like that's the team he went to. Yeah.
Plus with Volquez throwing the no hitter, you had 7 of the 9. You're not going to guess the other 2, but you'll definitely remember one more. You remember Derek
Oh
Dietrich?
yes. Of course, I was about to say Derek Dietrich.
Yeah, there
He's
you
no
go.
longer in the. This dude was like
Jacked.
jacked.
I remember when he was with the Reds.
He went to the Reds
games
after the
against the
Marlins.
Cubs, they played sleeveless, like with like 1940s
They
jerseys.
rolled up Nick
Yeah.
Senzel and Dietrich. They all
Yeah.
like rolled. Yeah, I remember that.
And then the
I
only
actually
other
was a
hitter in
fan
the
of
lineup
Dietrich.
you might not remember, JT Riddle.
Oh, JT Riddle. Yeah, JT Riddle went to the Phillies, I like to think. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah. And this is, so it's this I was seriously following the Marlins in 17. Obviously, I mean, we had a really great lineup. Obviously, don't even get me started on that whole when we started trading away people. But I will say it was a very emotional year too because we had just lost Jose Fernandez the year before, who died in that
Yeah.
boating accident, and so I was there the game when they came back, and I have never, ever, ever been to a more emotional baseball game than that game when they literally put the jerseys on the mound and the hats on they did the whole ceremony, and then on the outside they had like a Jose Fernandez number 16 jersey that was hanging, and
Yeah.
everyone signed it, and yeah, oof.
And
But
then there
yeah,
were the reports that a couple of the other players luckily almost were on the same boat but weren't. Like that could have been wild.
crazy. And the Mets had a number 16 jersey in their dugout, which they hung, and other teams too, in tribute to
Yeah.
Jose. Yeah, that was he was such a star pitcher.
Yeah,
I
he
mean, it was
really
such
was.
a tragic circumstance, and when so they ended up speaking real quick of that Marlins team that had so many superstars on it. Basically, the one of the last people that to be traded away from that team was JT Real Muto, and JT, once he saw everyone else was traded, they weren't even edging necessarily to trade him, but he was like, I want to go. He
Yeah.
requested a trade at that point.
Well,
And
he knew he didn't want to be terrible for a bunch
when
of
the
years.
Phillies picked him up, oh, I was so upset. I wanted the Mets to pick him up so bad. One of my favorite catchers. I have a whole collection of game used Marlins hats of JT Realmuto.
That
I
well,
love
that game
that
you went
guy.
to, that no hitter, you saw JT Realmuto stolen base, so you got
Yeah,
that going for you.
love that guy. I love, I still, even though he's on arrival, I still like him very much. Baseball, that's the I know
You can
you'll
like a
agree with
few players.
this.
You can like a few players on some certain teams. It's
Oh,
okay.
you like some Cardinals? Do you?
Yeah, occasionally.
Okay, all right, fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair enough. I will say that that's the thing about baseball. We've talked about this in previous podcasts too. It's that emotional historical factor. And I know Bob Costas gets a lot of poo poo, from fans, but the one thing he does really well is that storytelling aspect. And baseball has so many stories, that are part of
Yeah.
the lore. But yeah, so cool stuff. Love it. Thank you for that quiz. I appreciate that. I did
You
not
did well.
know.
I was impressed.
I'm proud of myself for being able to sustain that. Um, let's talk about a show we haven't talked about in quite a while since it first premiered, and it's the USA Network's show Anonymous. What are we thinking so far?
I like it, honestly. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
do too. I do too.
I
It's
think
not getting a lot of buzz, I don't think.
I think it's a nice combination of Big Brother and like kind of like The Circle, kind of like Survivor even. There's a nice they had some real I mean it's the first season, so it's not like you can base it off of any other past seasons, but they had some interesting twists at the end of the first 3 episodes. Like
They sure
quickly,
did. Can I
they
real
brought in 3 new players, they refreshed the handles. I mean,
can I
yeah,
just
go
say
ahead.
one thing I don't like? I think you're gonna agree.
What do you not like?
Can we just
What's
wrap
Tim's
up an
gripe this week?
can we just wrap up an episode with a bow and not have these cliffhangers? Come on. Come on. That's
I know.
so dumb.
Every episode, you get the reveal from the previous episode in the first 10 minutes. And then the rest of the episode, it's like, well, they're going to vote on a couple people, but you're not going to see the result. So it's like, oh, okay. Well, we saw the result from last week. I agree. I think we should get a clean episode each time.
I'm an old man, Charlie, and let me tell you, I forget sometimes what happened in the last episode,
Can you
and
imagine
it's not as
Thursday night
fun.
Big Brother eviction? 4-3 are the votes with 4 votes to go, and we'll see you tomorrow.
It's bad
And then the
enough.
whole internet tells you who voted. Like, oh,
I
that's
can
the
tell you who
worst.
the next head of household
I
is, but
know you
that's another
can.
story. But that's the thing, though. Really, truly, Big Brother stopped doing, which upsets me. And this is a gripe I have a Big Brother. I know we'll go back to Anonymous real quick, but I just want to say this real quick.
Yeah, what did they stop doing?
They stopped having the head of household competitions in the Thursday episode. They started to get really lazy about it and just do it like right after the episode and then show it on Sunday. I don't like that. I want to see the head of household on eviction night. I want to see the eviction and then the head of household competition. That's the way it's always been for a long time. All of a sudden, yes, this
Yeah.
is I'm yelling into the air. But I like to see. That's why unfortunately I'm on these update sites. I get to see that Joey is the new head of household, you know. There is no Joey. I'm trying not
Right.
to spoil Charlie.
I like that you did that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, because
Anything.
now because it's out there, the
It's-
internet knows
yeah.
already, and we gotta
And
wait till Sunday, which is like, I don't know. I feel like
so speaking of Big Brother, since
I
I'm
go
going to
back and forth on
transition
that, but yeah,
back to Anonymous, we got the winner, the GOAT from Big Brother on the Anonymous.
yes, X.
Yes. Xavier is on Anonymous. And what frustrates me now until this, I don't know. I forget the
What's
guy's
Tim's
name.
gripe about this? That's gonna be a new segment. Tim's gripe.
um,
Get another theme music going.
it's Nick Testa. We need another theme song. No,
Something
but
for Nick's gripes. Maybe something a little, yeah, like a little jingle.
no, but before this new dude came, and I forget his name. He's a guy who's basically like your age. I mean, he's a cop, and you remember the guy's name? He
I
just
don't
came. It's
remember.
part of the new one. See, that's
Oh
how
no,
memorable.
no, he's older than me. You're talking
He's
about the
younger than me, older than you. I would say in his
yeah, you're
40s.
you're
Okay,
talking about the guy who's up, Vince, right?
Van,
Vince Vance.
Vance. I think it's
I can't
Vance.
remember, but something
So
like that.
anyway,
Yeah,
before he
he's
came
weird.
on the show, no one knew who Xavier was from Adam. Like nobody knew. Nobody knew he won Big Brother. Xavier comes in, I won Big Brother. What are you doing? And we talked
Yeah,
about that last time, but and then
I think a
Vance or
couple did. I
Vince.
think a couple
Oh, they
did
did?
know. I think a
Okay.
couple knew, and I think he just wanted to get in front of it.
And then this guy comes on and he's like, oh, I know him. He won Big Brother. And, I mean, how crazy is it that he was able to peg Sandra's daughter?
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, that was impressive. And
I
then when
love
they're
the show.
talking about it, Xavier does a good job to mention that, hey, that's a much bigger target than me. I only won Big Brother. We're talking about
She won Survivor twice.
the legend of
Legend.
legends.
Sandra Diaz Twine. I
Makes
mean,
me look bad. And then Jack was like, it makes you look dumb. Yeah.
but it's interesting though, and I don't think she knows yet that they know, right?
No,
She
she's
she
oblivious.
doesn't
They've
know that
kept it
they
quiet.
know. Yes,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Um, I think it's a great show. Actually, I am a fan of it. I would love to be on
Yeah.
it myself. I love the fact that they're talking with each other and then they get to go down below and be shady as shit to
Yeah.
each other. That is fun. What a fun
And then
element
they
that
change
is.
the handles up. Like,
That's crazy. And I know why they did it because they don't want someone to be too comfortable that they think they figured everyone out because then the show would get boring. I get
right.
that.
And so now I wonder how often they're going to do it because it made it sound like it's not the only time that's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen at least one more time.
At least, maybe
But I
even
hope they
twice.
don't keep adding players. I don't think that
No, they
part is a
can't. They
little
can't keep
fair
adding them.
because you're
No, but
now
keep
so
thinking,
far
we
along in the
mentioned
game.
it feels like it's part circle, and that happens in the circle,
It is,
but
although
then they
last
stop.
season less much. Yeah, less so.
Yeah.
Speaking of Circle, they did announce the cast. We have some twins coming on. That'll be interesting.
Oh,
We
I
have
didn't
some
actually see that.
old conservative lady from Long
That is
Island
that a
from
soon a fall show, September, October?
coming up in next week or the week after. We have the Circle
Oh wow.
season 7, I think it is. Yeah, they filmed these two, the last season that we just saw, and this season back to back in Atlanta. So this was filmed right after. So just like the floor, they just filmed the floor
Two and
seasons 2
three,
and
yeah.
3 back to back in Ireland. But yeah, excited to see how Anonymous plays out. For USA Network, which is not, it's owned by NBC, a Universal, but it's like not it's not one of the top networks
It's not a
because
hit
of
maker.
audience draw.
They've had a
It's a
couple,
great
but it's
show.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm impressed. I mean,
The most recent episode, we saw the result of 2 ago, which was they voted out Robbie, which was a shame. She was good.
I liked her.
They were pretty surprised when they said she was Dice because first they were thinking it was her, then they thought it was Tyrina, then Tyrina was revealed to not be it, and they were all confused.
I thought
But
I
yeah, she
had
was a
it.
good
I thought I
she was a
knew.
good player. It was a smart elimination.
It
And that was
was.
by one of the
That was
new
Xavier,
people.
but
No, 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 no.
well, he was
That
directing
was
it, wasn't it? Oh
no.
no.
That was
Okay, all right.
the new
That's
woman who
right.
came in. So it was
That's right.
interesting. The three new players who came in
Boom.
could not go home, but the fact that they could win anonymous, I thought was kind of interesting.
That's
That
a
that
way
gave
to
her some big
interesting is
power.
a way to put it.
Yeah, it was a
I kind
choice.
of so
I feel like if they were ineligible to go home, they probably shouldn't have been able to
that's
win
what
it.
I'm thinking. I think
I
that's
don't
kind
know.
of an unfair advantage, but you
Yeah,
know
and
what?
then she took a shot. And
But
now
then
they're all
again,
pretending like all the ladies are together, even though a couple of them are throwing some wrenches in there.
I'll play devil's advocate for a minute. I would wager to say that coming in late in the game is also a disadvantage. So
True, but
yeah,
they got in at the time of the new handle, so at that moment, all handles were zero.
fresh.
But
Yeah.
the other people could maybe pick up on something based off how they were talking or whatever.
If I was already in the house, I would have been upset a little bit, I think, because when you eliminate people, you kind of in your head, you're like calculating, okay, now I have this many people, this many people, this many people. And I would have been frustrated, I think, a little bit, but that's the
Yeah,
game. Um, but yeah, so interesting. I am looking forward to the anonymous. I'm looking forward to the circle coming up in a couple of weeks. And
Survivor.
Survivor. They just released a cast for season 47. Looks great. Some
And a few of them
interesting
have been
people.
yeah, they've released a few like long like some short form interviews with a couple of them like their one-on-ones in the camera while they're on, so it looks interesting.
The one guy, I love this line. The one guy says, that one that was a speechwriter for
Oh
Obama.
yeah,
He
that's
goes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He goes,
That's
I have anxiety, but it's worse for me than it is going to be for you. I love that. That's such a great
yeah.
line. And they keep replaying it over. What's his name? I forget his name.
Is it
Um,
Axelrod? No.
no, not I know who you're thinking with Axelrod.
Yeah.
It's not Axelrod. It is, let's see.
Yeah, it's someone who's somewhat well known.
Oh yeah, when he was announced, like people were like, "Oh, him? He's in the cast." And it's certainly not the last time they've done this. Um, it is. I'm literally looking at the John Lovett. John
Oh,
Lovett.
that's it.
He's a 42-year-old podcast host from Long Island, living in Los Angeles. He also was a speechwriter for Obama, President Obama. Another interesting, Aisha Welch, 32-year-old IT consultant from DeSoto, Texas, living in Houston. She's actually a main podcast host for Rob Has a Podcast. One of his people is going to be on Survivor.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's
Yes. She's
interesting.
very well known
So they're gonna
in
get they're gonna
Survivor.
they're gonna get some behind the scenes.
Definitely. Uh,
There's someone from Schaumburg, Illinois as well who now lives in Nashville, a sports reporter.
oh, really? Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
at that. Let me tell you one thing I am a little bummed with. And me,
No,
the oldest person in
Sue.
the cat. What?
Sue is 59.
Oh, I missed her. I was
Yeah.
gonna say the oldest person's 43. Seuss me, a 59-year-old flight, because I get, but one person over 43,
Well, John's also 42.
right? Okay, but yeah, I'm gonna give you a news flash, Mister 37, 38. It's not old 42.
I hear you.
You're not old.
But there are no
You
37,
have your whole
38 year
life.
olds. All the other ones are like between the
Yeah,
24 and 32 range.
which to you are babies, so I get it. I get
There's
it.
one 34-year-old.
I'm not calling you old, by the way. Just saying. um, I
Yes.
don't view myself at 52 as old either. I just kid around with that. I do not see myself in that vein at all. I tell people when I turn 65, we'll talk. But until then, I'm good. Even though the gray hair I've had since I was 29 years old, so it is
And
what it is.
one other thing I noticed, which is something we've talked about in the past with Survivor, the the premiere is a 2-hour episode, but after
Mhm.
that, they are again 90-minute episodes.
I think,
We've gone
here's
back
my
and forth on it.
some episodes I love it. If it's a really good episode, it's worth it. But there's some episodes not a lot is going on and it drags. I'm
Yeah.
fast forwarding through it.
There's a
It's
bunch. There's some
so
filler.
much. I will say Survivor 46, there was some episodes well worth the 90-minute time, especially towards the end of the season last
Yeah, it
season.
was a strong season.
I think this season's going to be strong too. I heard that for one, it's one cycle. So for 47, but not for 48, the auction is coming back. They're bringing the auction back.
Definitely.
So that's going to
Yeah,
be
it
fun.
seems like they have that every other one.
I haven't watched.
They've had it.
46
They've
was
had
the
it a
last
couple
full
times recently.
season.
Yeah,
Because of you, the last full season I've watched was 46. I am bummed a little bit that Amazing Race is not coming back this cycle because the summit is coming. I'm not too thrilled with that concept, honestly, about people going up a mountain
that's replacing the Amazing Race.
for this
Or
cycle. Amazing Race
oh,
is
they just
coming back in the winter as
got
a
it.
mid-season. It's not canceled, but I don't know how I feel about the summit.
Yeah, I've seen some previews for that.
Uh,
I'm not sure how I feel either. It's
it
probably
kind of reminds me of Bear Grylls. You know the Bear
yeah.
Grylls.
Yep, of course.
And,
Now, there was one years ago on MTV. I don't know if you ever watched it. It was literally called Stranded on an Island with a Million
oh,
Dollars.
yeah, I heard of it.
Did you
I
watch
never
it?
watched it. No, you gotta tell me.
If you ever get a rainy day and you want to binge watch a crazy show, that
Add to
one
my
is the
huge
show.
list of
Add it
shows.
to your list, but we'll pencil it in somewhere middle to bottom, like not high on the rush list. But when you got one rainy day and you want to do something, so this premise of the
I
show
do live in South Florida, so
is
it's rainy.
all the contestants are together, and it's if you make it to the end, you share whatever's left. There's pretty much no rules though. So like
No
you can try to
rules.
sabotage people to get them out. I don't want to give away too much.
What, did they hurt people?
Nobody hurt anybody, but let's say that a questionable thing or two may have gone down.
Is it on streaming? Is it on Paramount Plus?
It was an MTV show, so I'm certain you can watch it on probably
I'm gonna
Paramount
have to
Plus or
find it now.
somewhere. It's
Was this
interesting.
around the
So
time of Real World in the 90s?
it was no. This was within the last 7 years.
Oh.
Maybe like closer to like 5.
Oh wow.
So there were things like, let's say they were on like some challenge, it got done, and then they could vote on, do you want to buy a pizza for $8,000? Like the stuff was outrageous prices
Oh, and
coming
it
out
would
of the
take out of the
million
prize.
dollar. Yes,
Oh.
exactly. So then all of a sudden, after like in a couple episodes, they realized, wait, this is powerful. So they started forming alliances to get numbers and stuff. Like
Oh, because you had to have
you
the
could buy
majority to vote.
tents. Yes. So
Oh.
there's
I
like a
like
lot
this.
of right. I think you
Why
would
wasn't
like
it
it.
renewed?
I think because of one or two of the things
Questionable.
that people did. I think if they had tighter rules, it could come back. But like those one or two things made it more interesting. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I will. I will
Put
definitely.
it on the list, somewhere in the middle.
Um. So real quick, the White Sox. Real quick, going back to baseball, I made another clip of basically there were two an infielder and outfielder ran into each other.
It was almost 3 players running into each other.
What in the world?
It was
And it's
almost the
and
exact clip
today
from the movie Major League.
a throw to first base today almost clipped the runner.
Oh yeah,
What?
that was the
Did you
day
see
before.
that?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, dude. What's going
Were off.
on?
They were off today. Don't worry.
They've been off all season.
I
But
set you up for that one. I
oh,
saw
I'm
like
glad.
one of those. It was either the Onion or one of the other ones, an article, and it said White Sox batters to start hitting off tee for fairness.
I
It was
saw that. That was
hilarious. It
funny.
was really funny.
And they showed a tee at home plate.
Yeah,
I saw it. That was good.
pretty good.
So speaking of game shows, by the way, going back to that, the Floor season 2 is coming up soon. They did a preview, a first look today. It looks great. There's 100 contestants on the floor. Again, the great Rob Lowe is back. There's a new twist to it this year where they have a boost where if you win 3 duels in a row, you get a time boost, a 5-second boost on your time, which
Wow,
could be a game
interesting.
saver, a game changer.
Yeah,
So interesting. Yeah, so the Florida season 2 is coming. I'm excited. I am bummed that we cannot try out for the show, my friend, because apparently we were on some Fox show.
Maybe season 4 and 5, the next
Maybe.
cycle.
Fox, hello. Hello, we want to be on. But yeah, I just
They
some great
also
people.
Yeah, speaking of game shows, they also just didn't they just film the pop culture Jeopardy one as well?
They did. Pop Culture Jeopardy
Colin Jost,
film.
right?
Colin Jost is hosting it. Filmed over in the Jeopardy studios in Culver City, California. It's going to be a tournament bracket style show with semifinals. There's 3 contestants per team. I'm not exactly sure how that looks yet, but I heard reports that Colin Jost is amazing, is really
Is
good.
that going to be on Prime?
It's going to be on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if another network is going to show. I know ABC declined to air. So ABC is usually the
Their
network that
loss.
airs Jeopardy. Yeah, I'm excited. I love Colin Jost. I think
Yeah,
he's going to put
me
something
too.
into it that's going to be good. I think
It's gonna be
he's witty. And I also just filmed Hollywood Squares remake with Drew Barrymore. That was filmed over in Los Angeles. It's going to premiere on CBS in January. Um,
Speaking of new releases, also Beetlejuice is coming out.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice,
Oh no, you
Beetlejuice.
said it 3 times in a row. You can't do that.
What?
Everyone
It's,
knows you can't
he
say
go,
it 3 times in a row.
I'm here, I'm here. I'm
Like that insurance
excited.
commercial.
It's coming out today. It releases today. This podcast is dropping on Friday. Beetlejuice is dropping today. How excited are you?
I'm definitely excited. We're definitely gonna see
Deo,
that.
Deo. La come and me wanna go. Oh my God. How funny is that scene in the original movie?
You know, it's such a great
The
movie.
shrunken
I
head.
can't. I really hope they do it justice. I think they will.
I'm hearing that the reports are that they do it justice, which I mean, hearing Michael Keaton back, Catherine O'Hara back, Winona Ryder's back. I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. You know a little trivia? I don't know if you know this. Michael Keaton's original name is Michael Douglas. Did you
Yes,
know
and he
that?
just finally is changing it like to make it all three, right? Michael
Back
Keaton
to Michael
Douglas or whatever.
Douglas. Yeah, it basically
Michael
forced
Douglas
him
Keaton, right?
because the other Michael Douglas. But yeah, I'm good for him. He's Batman.
Now he's well known enough where he can add the extra name.
I think so. But I'm excited. I love Beetlejuice so much. The original movie is one of my favorite movies. It came out. There was this really. I don't know if you agree. I mean, you were young, but there's this late '80s kind of comedy movie, pocket that just had some of the most amazing Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Beetlejuice, just had some of the most iconic movies. I think it started with Goonies. I mean, it started a whole pocket of movies are just
Yeah,
unbelievable. And
definitely.
Beetlejuice. Tim Burton, if you don't know Tim Burton, go back and watch some of his best movies. Ed Wood is one of my favorites. Johnny Depp, that's a terrific movie. Nightmare Before Christmas. Go see some Tim Burton. Good stuff.
I mean, there's so many good ones.
So you're planning on going with Rosie to see it?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna go. I don't know if we'll make it this weekend, but maybe Tuesday.
I'm gonna try. I want to kind of like what was said with Wolverine and Daredevil. I want to kind of try to avoid the spoilers. I'm
Oh,
sure there are going to be some
100%.
spoilers. I don't want to be
100%.
spoiled because I'm sure there are going to be some kind of cameos and stuff that happen in the movie or things like, oh,
Are you gonna go this weekend, do you think?
I'm aiming for tomorrow or Saturday. I'm hoping. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Speaking of spoilers and I don't want to give too much of a spoiler, but I listened to our buddy Nicholas Pepin's podcast Pop Culture Roulette this week, and they did a bracket challenge of um Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Ooh, Arnold
Now,
movies.
I'm going to now if you don't want to be spoiled, fast forward about 2 minutes or so because I'm going to ask Charlie a question. Charlie, what do you think was the number one movie in the bracket voted on by Nicholas and his gang at Pop Culture Roulette? Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, the number one.
I'm gonna have to say the Terminator. I'm gonna have to say Terminator.
Terminator. Okay. if you were to say Terminator, you're close.
Judgment Day.
Terminator 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Um, what do you think Terminator 2 is up against in the final? You'll never guess this. I'm gonna say it straight up.
Okay, then I'll never guess it. So if I'll never guess it, I'm gonna say something random, like the sixth day,
Oh, that's a good random
or
one.
maybe Last Action Hero.
You're kind of in the vein.
I'm in the okay. Over two though.
Um,
Predator.
yeah. No, that's
That's too
Arnold.
much.
That's Arnold. Um, think Christmas.
No way. Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way was up against Terminator 2.
Wow. Wow. That's certainly a choice.
We love you, Nicholas. No, no. Now let me. I'm shortchanging our buddy. Basically, they kept voting it in because it is their favorite. It is a great Christmas movie in perspective, and Nicholas watches it every year. And so I think out of spite, towards the end, they voted it in, and it was. I mean, it was inevitable that Terminator 2 was going to be the one.
It's
Um,
okay. Everyone's got funny is I would probably pick a different one that's similar to that in terms of like it's
Kindergarten
just
Cop.
boom. You knew it. You knew it.
I
Did
know you.
did
I know
did
you.
Kindergarten Cop make the final four or the Elite Eight?
No, I don't think it
No.
did. Maybe
Oh
it did. I don't
no,
know, but
that's a classic. See now that
I thought
one,
you were gonna say twins.
everyone's got something that you kind of
Twins
grew
for
up with
me.
that you always hold together. And for that Kindergarten Cop, there was this like thing. This is like when the internet was like brand new.
Well,
Like
when
it
that
had
came
like
out, you were basically in kindergarten.
yeah,
So
it had like two, three, like barely anything on the web. You three websites out there, and one of them was like a soundboard of Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes from Kindergarten Cop, and people used to prank call using those. It was just a classic.
oh my god, that's so funny. That's so awesome. Yeah, that's one of the
It
classics for me too.
Jingle All the Way is definitely classic. Definitely seen it multiple times. That's
Definitely. I'll say twins too. I love that movie. I mean,
Twins.
with Danny
Yeah, there's a lot
DeVito,
of. I mean, there's so many classic ones. You got. Don't
the
forget
one where
True
he's
Lies.
pregnant.
Yeah, that one
True
too.
Lies. Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, what a great movie that is. Total Recall.
Yep. You got
Running Man with Richard Dawson. Oh, what a great movie that
You
is.
also
I
have
love
a
that.
thousand Expendables movies.
Yeah, some of them are not good though.
Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
in a lot.
So shout out if you are not listening to Pop Culture Roulette, give them a listen. They are awesome.
And
You're
if
gonna
you
have
want to
to
get in on Pop Culture Roulette's Pick'em Pool, only one game has been played so far, so plenty of time to sign up.
yes. And the link is on their Facebook page and check it out. Definitely. Anything else, buddy?
No, I think we covered it.
I think we did too.
I
It's
I wonder if by the time we do this again, will the Mets have lost? It's like they don't
don't
lose
jinx them.
anymore.
Don't jinx them.
Nah, I'm
Don't
not
jinx them.
jinxing them, but they're playing some good ball.
Let's go,
Keep it
Mets,
going. Keep
go.
it going.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time of year we want them to do it, and hopefully the Cubs can start getting together. And I love the Cubs, so go Cubs, go!
I'd
Quite a
love a way
W.
for both of them to make it.
I love to see an NLCS
It's
where
not
again
impossible.
the Mets and the Cubs play each other. It's happened before; it can happen again.
It's happened as recently as 2015.
2015, yes, where the what team won? Oh yeah, the Mets.
That's okay. You won that one,
You
and then
won it. You
we
won
took
the
the
World
World
Series in
Series a year
16.
later.
So,
So I wouldn't trade them.
which I was rooting for the Cubs, and I told you that before. So, yeah. All right, this has been Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your hosts,
Charlie Seymour.
and I'm Tim Sternberg. Until next week, everyone, make it an awesome week and go see Beetlejuice. See you next time. Bye, everybody.